Pete and you're watching Feral Fabrications. Today we're going to do some work on the Viva HB GT Replica. Now the diff that's in there is from the original car, and because it was originally a 1100, the diff is tiny. So I'm going to rip that out from under the car and I'm going to put one of the 1800 Viva diffs in there. So I've got two. One's been welded, one's open, but I'm told it's got a bit of a rusty crown wheel. So I think I'm just going to do my best to tidy that up for now. I could always swap the crown and pinion out of the welded diff, because it's just the central spider gears that have been welded, not the pinion and crown wheel. So I could grab those, chuck those in the other diff if I feel like I need to, but honestly I'll probably just tidy it up, take it around the block a few times and see how bad it really is. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to do a diff swap on the Viva. Alright, here's the diff for the Viva. So this has come out of the 2.3 litre HC Viva donor car, which was a bit of a rare car, assembled in the UK. So the ratio and everything though appears to be the same as the 1800. And if you have a look at the housing stamping, just make out a K there. So that defines it to be a 3.72 ratio, I'm told. Haven't verified it, but that's what I'm told. So that should actually be a good ratio to go in the Viva. The problem being though, if I just wind it over a bit, she feels a bit graunchy. So what to do? I think where we'll start is we'll just pop the back cover off and have a look at it and see if this thing's scrap or not. If everything in there doesn't look too bad, we might just send it, see how long it lasts, but it's probably worth having a quick look at before we do that. So let's pop the back cover off and have a bit of a gander inside the thing. Right, so yeah, clearly this ain't in as new condition, and I was never expecting it to be. The question is it salvageable? And I'm thinking it might be. A lot of the gunk in there just looks like it needed an oil change, you know. But we're going to really need to clean this housing out properly, otherwise all that gunk's just going to destroy everything. So, to tip some solvent on this thing and start cleaning it out. Alright, there we go, we've got that all cleaned up with the wire brush, bit of degreaser as well. Spinning it around and around with the drill, just trying to get any bits of crud broken free. So she's obviously not showroom condition, but we'll just see how bad it really is. So plan is seal the cover back on, overfill it, run it around the block, and then drop fluid and just keep changing the fluid more than you would normally, and just see how bad it is. For now, it's going to do us. So let's get this thrown, get the cover thrown on and get it up into the car, start mounting all the random bits and pieces, handbrake and that sort of stuff. Alright, we're going to put the diff into this Viva. So that's the diff we've cleaned up and given a Dulux overhaul. First thing you got to do is jack up your race car. Right, got some axle stands under her now, so we'll go ahead and start ripping that diff out. Put this bigger one in. So just finishing up removing this little 1100 diff. I've disconnected the lower arms, upper arms, and disconnected the shocks, handbrake. Okay, we've got the diff thrown up in here. Now what I'm noticing though is that the, duck you around this side, is that the pinion angle's pointing up really acutely, so that's never going to work. Okay, so what are we going to do about this diff pointing up in the sky? I've had a poke around the parts pile, and the issue is these top arms. Those original ones that went to the 1100 diff are a bit long, but I've got these. Now these come off the diff originally, I believe, so they'll be 2.3 HC Viva top arms, and I've been reinforced a little bit, which is cool, and also they're about 20 mils or about an inch shorter, so that is going to fix our pinion angle, which is cool. So we're going to go ahead, pop those existing top arms out and fit those ones off the HC. Okay, so the ones at the back of the old ones, and at the front of the new ones, and you can see they're substantially shorter. Got them lined up at the front, so that's pretty good that I got those in the parts pile. Yeah, none of the bushes and stuff are in great shape. All the stuff will come back out one day and get rebushed, but that's a job on itself. So for now, just gonna slam everything in this car and get it running and rolling. One in, one to go. Right, so I was just double checking the length of these arms, these lower ones, to make sure that I don't have to swap them out. So it looks like edge of the bolt to the edge of the bolt there. Hard to see if you see it on camera, but to my eye that's about 620. Yeah, give or take. So I think that's pretty close. Then measuring these ones from the parts pile, edge of the hole to the edge of the hole is probably 620 as well, so I'm happy to leave the existing ones in there. I've also just checked for damage, and they're looking pretty good nick, and the thickness of the steel, as far as I can tell, is the same. Like, these don't seem to have any extra reinforcement or anything, so I'm happy to use those ones there, and we'll just stick with them. There we have it, out with the old and crusty, and in with the old and crusty with some paint on it. Big difference. Anyway, that'll do for just rolling around and a bit of a road course test, I'd say, and we still need to get back in here and replace those wheel cylinders before we'll be going anywhere, but a little bit of progress. Rough enough for now. We'll get on to removing all this handbrake stuff next. I'm pretty keen to get the handbrake working just for rolling the car around. It's pretty handy to have. So this is the 1100 diff. I'll cut that off and weld it onto the HC diff to get the handbrake to work. Pretty confident that will sort my issues around all the handbrake cabling and stuff. Now obviously it's easy for me to do with the welding equipment, but if you didn't have any welding gear, you would obviously go the route of just changing the cables around.
But I don't have any gear to do that, but I do have welding gear to cut that off and use it. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, time to remove the handbrake bracket off the HC. Looks like I can unbolt a fair chunk of it, pop that spring off, and then I've just got a smaller bracket to cut off the back. Okay, got that old handbrake bracket removed. Now I've got to cut this piece off. Managed to get the split pin out of this one, but over here the split pin's seized in the pin that goes through the top, so I'm just going to cut that off with the angle grinder. I've got spare ones of those from the other Diff anyway, so we'll slap those in. Okay, we've got the new handbrake bracket off the HB 1100 Diff onto the HC, just clamped in place, and just checking the alignment of the cables, which I'm pretty happy with. And everything's the right length. Obviously the handbrake's not applied at the moment. This sort of self-adjusts just by moving around. You can see this loop, so it's free to slide around the loop, so that the length here will always be right. So I can't make one side too long and too short by not having this bracket this way, or that's like slightly off. I have measured it and it's 140 mil from here to where the bracket starts, so pretty happy with that. And I think I'm ready to tack this in. Okay, just got that tacked up there. And I've tested the handbrake, happy with it, and I've just pulled the cables out so I don't melt them while I weld this in. So we'll get her welded up now, to muck around with the welder settings a bit. I've got the gas flow up because it's a bit breezy today, and I have to try and weld when it's not blowing a gust, because otherwise it just blows the gas away and you'll get a pretty porous weld, so don't want that. We'll just have to time it just right with this one, but let's get this welded up. Right, there we have it, welded on. Didn't go too hot on the settings, just sort of pulse the trigger, being upside down, and I didn't want to put too much heat into anything either, being the axle tube, didn't want to warp it. That'll do, certainly ain't going to come off, and let that cool down, flick some paint on it, and we'll hook up some cables. Okay, that's the handbrake cable all done. Couple of new split pins in there. That's all it had when I took it apart, so that's all I've put back. I've adjusted this up. It's not on at the moment, so it looks a little slack, but when you tighten it, yank on the handbrake, it comes up nice. So yeah, happy with that. All in all, a bit of a win. So yeah, that's all I can do until I can get some parts. So there we have it, the new Diffs in the Viva. It doesn't look too pretty in there, quite a bit of corrosion, so hopefully it lasts. But you know, we can always swap the crown and pinion out later if I feel like we need to. I did have a look at the condition of the Diff that had been welded, and that crown and pinion actually looked quite worn compared to the one that had a little bit of corrosion on it. So I'm kind of hoping that it's not too badly pitted and we just run the car and it cleans up not too bad. So that'll do it for now. Once we're out of lockdown, you know, I'll be able to get all those extra parts I need to actually button it up. But we're still on lockdown. We don't come out until at least next week. So yeah, stuck until then.